In the year 1350, as the Black Death swept through Europe, the isolated village of Hollowbrook was gripped by silent fear. Surrounded by dense woods and reachable only by treacherous paths, the village had so far been untouched by the plague. But that didn't stop people from fearing it. Every day, villagers spoke of death coming to their doors, of the diseases black boils and burning fever. Then, one evening, strangers arrived. A small wagon pulled by a weary horse creaked down the path at sunset. In it rode a family, husband, wife, and a young girl, her face shrouded in a thick black veil. Her name was Loretta, and the villagers soon learned that she suffered from an unusual illness. Loretta never appeared by day. Sunlight scorched her skin, turning it raw, blistered, and peeling, as though her flesh was melting away. Only the coolness of night brought her relief, and even then, her parents insisted she stay covered, hidden from view. Rumors spread like wildfire through Hollowbrook. One night, some village children, playing near the well, glimpsed a shadowy figure in the dark. The children claimed they saw Loretta sitting silently on a stone, her face turned up toward the moon. By morning, they had rushed to their parents, trembling with tales of the night girl. "She's a witch," murmured the women at the market. "Her curse will be upon us if we let her stay." Loretta seldom left her family's small cabin, bearing her pain in silence. Her parents pleaded with the villagers, explaining that her illness was rare, not contagious. But their words fell on deaf ears. Hollowbrook was ripe with suspicion and fear. Loretta had barely been there a week before the whispers grew louder, evolving into accusations. Then, one evening, as a mist settled over the village, someone saw her shadow again. It glided by, shrinking away from the light of the moon, as though terrified of even its faint glow. This sight confirmed the worst fears of the villagers. Only a witch, they believed, would fear the purity of light. Only a cursed soul would burn beneath it. "It's her," cried Elijah, the village elder, his voice like gravel scraping against stone. "She's the reason the plague hasn't come. She carries it within her." That was all it took. In Hollowbrook, Elijah's word was law, and the people were quick to listen. The next day, as the sun set behind the trees, a mob gathered outside Loretta's cabin. Her parents pleaded for mercy, swearing their daughter was no witch, but the crowd was relentless. Elijah delivered the final judgment. She would be burned. Loretta was dragged from her home, the veil ripped from her head. They led her to the center of Hollowbrook, where a massive pyre had already been built. The crowd watched in silence, clutching torches as flames danced in their eyes. Loretta didn't scream or beg. She looked at them with something darker in her gaze, resentment, anger, and maybe something more. As the fire climbed around her, Loretta's voice rose, echoing over the flames. "You, all of you," she screamed, "may you suffer the way I have. May the plague find you, everyone." Her words pierced the air, her curses laced with venom. The crowd watched in horror as the flames consumed her, the last of her voice swallowed by the crackling fire. Only a few dared to remain as the fire died down, leaving only ash and the stench of burned flesh. 3 days later, the screams began with dawn. One of the villagers found his wife writhing in agony, her body covered in black spots, her skin leaking foul-smelling pus. She choked on her own blood before the sun rose. By the end of the day, her husband and children had joined her in death. Soon after, others in the village fell ill, all of them bearing the same horrible marks and boils that marked the victims of the Black Death. One by one. Those who had stood by the pyre, who had watched Loretta burn, succumbed to the sickness. People bolted their doors, hiding in their homes, but nothing could keep the plague at bay. It came as Loretta had promised, and there was no escaping it. Elijah himself was the last to fall. He had taken refuge in the village church, praying for mercy, but mercy did not come. His legs gave out first, then his skin erupted in weeping sores, and finally, he could no longer breathe. His lungs felt as if they were aflame, as if the fire that had claimed Loretta was now burning him from within. Within 2 weeks, Hollowbrook was silent. The once thriving village was reduced to empty homes and rotting food. The only sound was the wind, carrying the ghostly echo of Loretta's final words. "May the plague find you, everyone." It said that, on moonless nights, shadows linger around Hollowbrook, where the faint whispers of curses can still be heard. Those who venture near report hearing a voice on the wind, cold as ice and thick with malice, a reminder of the girl whose curse brought a village to its knees.